You didn't,
I mean,
it's
they're
not,
older.
it's not factored in.
Anybody have any crazy
anything.
stories right now? Before I get into it, because I want to hear from lending big time. What are rates doing right now?
They're getting better. I mean, the market today, let's see here.
Just gonna say, I saw, we saw him ebb and flow.
How about a
Yesterday.
jumbo $1 million house? What are rates like on those? If they put like 20% down.
So the market is up 24 bips today, and yesterday it was up 7 bips. Day before that, it was up 5 bips. 26 bips. I mean, so we're starting to see it come back. The bond market.
Yeah.
So if people tell us today, hey Rob, what are the rates like? You know how they always ask
I'll
us?
pull it up
And I was
here.
going,
Just give me that.
If you look at the 10-year treasury,
Fully
and
signed.
2.5 to it, that's
Get you in the
roughly-
ballpark.
That's gonna get
Okay.
you real close to where you're gonna see.
So here, let's
you
just.
guys are getting us in the ballpark every Thursday.
Yeah, so
All right.
just south of 7 is where things are set.
South of 7.
A
Or if
jumbo,
you
a jumbo
wanna-
is at average today is 705,
Yeah.
7.05. So
Okay,
right there.
okay, that's good.
With a point. This is
A
the
good
average.
Jumbo, and then a regular conventional.
Conventional
just
regular.
Be like 6.625 or
Says
something.
692 is
Yeah.
what it says.
692.
So
Okay.
7,
7.
6 and 7, 8, 6
Or
and 7.
6.875.
If you're talking to clients, high sixes
Yeah.
is a great,
This they
That's a
never
great
give away
conversation.
High
something.
6s is good.
Because you don't know they might have a
yeah. 405 credit score.
I'm
Somebody
good.
asks me, what are the rates? I go,
High sixes. The VA's in the mid sixes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So why isn't the interest rate coming down? Because I mean, Trump was saying it really should be coming down. There's no reason that it's not.
Why isn't he?
I should be
Because
making
he
more money
hasn't fired
too. Not just because I
Powell
should be.
He has to fire Powell first.
But then he came out and said, I'm not gonna fire him. Like,
He has to fire Powell
right.
first, right?
it's
The
all this
oil
ebb and
is-
He
flow.
really has zero control over
Yeah.
any of that.
Yeah, he might not have control, but he has influence, right? I mean, he should
Well,
have some influence. No?
Well,
I
let's
don't think
discuss
they can.
this. Do you guys think rates should come down?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they will.
Really? Why?
In the
No.
short term, at least.
We need it to
I don't think
stimulate the
Second half of the
economy
year,
as
I think
well.
we'll see it.
I
when
don't
real
think we'll
estate
see it.
goes well, the
I think
economy
we'll see
goes
it.
well.
Yeah.
Wait,
That's your goal?
Okay, hold on. You first.
I think the rates are going to come down the second half of the year. I'm not
Okay,
going
but
to
do you think it should come down?
Oh, should it? I mean, that's all. That's a no.
What's a
The short
healthy
answer,
rate?
no.
Okay,
Nothing
okay.
should do
What about
anything.
you?
I'm with him. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think
That
they
means
should
no.
come down.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
Okay, what about you?
I think they should to stimulate the economy while we go through this
They will
correction.
I
do that,
agree
I
with
think.
that. I
To
agree
balance
with
out the fear.
but I don't think they
Yeah,
should.
exactly.
Yeah, because people
Well,
are
how
broke.
low do you think they should go?
Wow, well, geez, I want
Anything in a 5
How about
or
2?
lower.
that. Wow.
Agreed.
Hey, well, no,
5 or lower
I'm
because
just,
that.
even up to 599, I'd say,
You can-
because you're
Okay,
still in a 5.
okay.
I agree, it's
I
psychological.
think 5.5 to 6 is a good rate, because if it goes back down to where
That's
it
a
was,
sustainable rate. 5.5
it's
to
just
6.
the reason where we're at right now is the rates were too low for way
Yep.
too long, and so like I tell people, hey,
But they could be.
my $400,000 house is worth $800,000
yes,
because the rates
But the
were
rates, it's
too
double.
you
low.
know, 2.8%, 3.2% for several years. And now with the rates up, the affordability, you know, people were throwing 50 grand more to get a house in 2020, 2021.
I just told a kid this morning, he's looking in Pueblo at a $320,000 house, 3% down, and I said, first I asked him, what would your ideal payment be? Right, that's kind of the general, and I would advise all of you guys to have that conversation first before you ever show a house.
Yeah.
yes,
And
sure.
do your little Google search or
Yeah,
use
yeah,
a
yeah.
calculator. He said $1,200 is the max I want to pay. And this realtor showed him a $320,000
Oh
house.
my goodness.
3% down.
It's his 4th time seeing this house. And I said,
Oh.
you're...
Oh no! Oh,
And they
he's
ready to write an
above.
offer this morning, and I
Yeah.
said, your payment's like $2,400. I don't know what you're in, you know, taxes, all this stuff. It's going to be about $2,400. And this kid started screaming at me.
Aw.
It's
It is your fault.
Right, he looked at a Mercedes and he can only buy a
That's right.
Hyundai.
And that's
He's
my,
not gonna like
that's
Okay, I
my
want to go.
analogy.
I want to go to her. What do you think the rates should come down, or what do you think?
I think in the sixes is a healthy, long-term, stable place to be, but people need a boost right now. So I agree with the 5.5. 5
Okay.
something.
Any good news is
Susan,
going
what
to
do
be.
you
it's gonna-
I just think, I mean, this isn't really like a very astute business way of thinking about it, to be honest, but like, just for like the sake of confidence. And people just are so, did you see the demonstrations this weekend in downtown Colorado Springs?
No.
No.
Were they huge?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Doing what?
Cussing at Trump and
Yeah.
crazy stuff.
Okay, were
Oh,
they?
and
and it's,
Well,
and it's,
from
and
Colorado
it's a mix
Springs?
of all,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
it's,
right.
Downtown
Was there a lot
Colorado
of
Springs.
buses in the background?
Yeah.
and it's a mix
it
of
was-
his
it was right
supporters
in
as well.
front of the courthouse.
you know?
I mean, it was really surprising to me. It's like
Yeah.
they just have, people are so knee jerk that it's almost like, I don't know, if any positive movement would give them like, well, maybe he's not the devil incarnate. You know,
Oh,
I
no,
think
They
that
won't.
never-
That'll
they'll
never.
never
It can
go
go
back.
to ones and they'll still
Okay, let's
hate
keep
them.
going on this, because I have another question after this.
Me,
Yeah,
I would like to go to 5.
ooh, that's slow.
okay.
Yeah.
I would refinance at 5.
Yeah.
I don't want to see them go that low.
Yeah.
I actually kind of don't mind the rates being whatever they are. You know, I think consumer education's the number one thing right now. So the
Yeah.
harder it is to get into loans, good. You know, and make them jump through hoops, make them learn. You know, I feel like people need to educate themselves about getting, you know, upward financial mobility and private ownership. So.
So then,
And you know, if the rates,
Yeah.
and if the rates go too low, it creates this crazy seller's market where people are waiving inspections
Sure,
and
right there, bud.
contingencies.
Right.
That's not good for
Right.
That's not good for
And prices go up even
60
more.
60% of the people that bought a house during COVID are unhappy with their purchase.
80%.
Was it 80?
80.
Because
Okay, so now let me
Sorry to
ask
be-
you,
They
They regret their purchase.
80%.
so
Yeah,
now
but
let me
why
ask you
then?
this follow-up
They
question.
can't move now.
When you pull up the MLS, you see arrows like this,
Values.
everything coming down,
Values are good.
all the prices. I'm fighting with sellers constantly.
Mhm.
Do you think if you lower the rates to the 5s and it stimulates the economy, like what you said, it will cause those to go back up?
Yes.
Yes.
So do you think we should,
That's why I
to
balance.
keep the prices
Yeah.
coming down just a tad and stabilizing?
Ain't
Would
gonna
that,
happen.
we
Because there's too
almost
much
need
demand.
the rate that we're at,
Yeah, there's too
right?
much pent up
There's
demand
pent up
right now.
demand. As soon as those rates come down a little bit, you watch.
That's what I
Bam!
was
Everybody's
saying.
gonna,
Bam!
and everyone's gonna
They-
jump in the market.
That kid this
Exactly.
morning asked me, should I buy this house? And I said, I can tell you for firsthand, if you don't buy that house today, and I'm not trying to sell you the house because I'm just a mortgage guy. If you don't buy the house today, and rates do drop down to 5, 5.5, wherever, you won't be able to buy that house 6 months from now, a year from now,
Competition.
whenever those rates hit, because there'll be 15 other people trying to get that, and you won't be able to compete for it. You don't have enough funds in your reserve to do that. So, I don't want to tell you to buy a house at 7, but I've been doing this for 25 years. I've seen rates when I started in the 9s
Yep,
and down to 2. We were doing VA loans at 2% interest rate.
right.
So if you own the house, you can always refinance. I mean, this is the conversation you guys are probably having, the same thing, right? You own the
Yeah.
house, you can always refinance it. You got to pay X to live, and if that's within a budget that you can live with, buy the house.
Wise.
Yeah, and that
Wise.
refinance is more tangible than that whole, you can
can't claw back
refinance
the
your
home
car
price.
later down the road.
Yeah.
There's a good chance you'll get
Right.
it done.
Well, the,
I've never been able to refinance a car. but
so the
I've been able to
values are going
refinance-
down.
Yeah.
So I do think, values are going down. I'm on my second short sale right now with somebody, another, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm actually coming across some short sales,
Mhm.
which are pretty unbelievable. But, I gotta help them. One realtor just told me, yeah, I can't help you. And the other one, I can't help you. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna help you, right? Because the short sales, they
'Cause they don't know how to do it,
understand. Yeah, they don't
Uh-huh.
understand.
And the
that right
time
now.
that it takes to
Can
do
I ask
it.
you a question on that?
Uh,
How much would you pay a third party to handle your short sale?
Is that like more short
third
sale
party?
solutions?
Like short sales.
Don't they charge like $5 to $1,000?
I don't know.
per
It's,
Yeah.
transaction? I
Are
think.
they
Somebody
That's-
asked me the other day about it, and I said, I mean, short sale solutions. You said,
That's
do you
Craig
guys have
O'Boyle
somebody?
and that's Craig
Same
O'Boyle and Bill
assumption.
McAfee.
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
Craig O'Boyle's not doing short
He does
sales.
the
He was
assumptions.
doing
Assumptions.
assumptions.
Yeah.
Bill McAfee
But
had a
they
short
do
sale.
have a short
Yeah,
sale
right.
solution
And
there.
that was great back then because it took 6 months, 8 months to
Uh-huh.
do short sales, so you
It was like
wanted them to do
$700.
it.
They're much
$100.
faster now.
It was
They're
worth
much
every
faster now,
penny.
and it's a lot easier for us
Mhm.
to do that. But here's the thing about literally like commissions in general, that Scott and I have been experiencing. You know, I just sold a home, 600 and some thousand. We made, what, 17,700 in commission. I get to keep $7,800 of $17,000.
Why?
Because there's so much daggum, I feel like all the things that are coming at me are companies like Zillow, Realtor.com, all these different companies now, they're all asking for 35%
Yeah,
now.
too much.
Okay?
Oh my god.
Because they
So
can't,
$7,000 went like that.
Yeah.
So
They
I got
can't
down to
ding you
$10,000,
monthly,
but
so
then I
now
had
they-
all my marketing expenses of the property. You
Hey,
have your
margins
TCs,
are this.
everything starts going down, and I'm like, I just
like
paid
in the lender.
$7,800, and the people were complaining about the 3% that I was charging, and I didn't want to tell them, you guys, I'm only making $7,800. Like, I got you from an internet site that came through and this and that. So I see all these companies going to, instead of saying, I'm going to give you a lead for, I'll give you leads for $2,000 a month or whatever they
They
charge.
want a piece
Now
of
they're
the
getting
commission.
Now they're
commission.
saying, just give us $100 a month or $150 a month and give us 35%. And it seems like I have tons of those. And
It's gonna-
it's
it's a
crazy
better
now. So
profit
when
center
you
for
say,
them.
will you do a short
Yeah.
sale and
I
pay
think
somebody to
commercial
do
don't
it?
play that.
I have to
We don't do
really
that.
think
Yeah,
about that now.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
it costs so much money now to
For
sell a
these
house.
leads
Yeah.
and stuff.
Well, and
I almost want to be a buyer's agent, but even the buyer's leads are
and the
horrible.
public perception is,
Yeah,
these realtors, they don't do nothing, they just get a big fat check,
right.
Mhm.
you know?
it's always been.
He was
I
like,
mean-
Rob, you earned your 17,000, but I don't want to pay the buyer's agent. Now imagine if I worked for Keller Williams and I had to give 30% to them too.
Right.
Like it would just be, I'd get like
Yeah, you would make
$4,000
nothing.
bucks.
Yeah.
Imagine if I was a team and I had to give
Yeah.
50% to them too. Like
Yeah.
So we
you're
just had
literally
the-
making $1,500 on 17,000. And if
That's
you cut your
ridiculous.
commission from 3% down, I'm telling you, I was going, wow, real estate's changing, Scott.
Do you
It's
really
completely
need
changing.
that lead generation company?
That's what I'm
Do you
thinking.
really
You
need
don't
it?
need them, but
It's
Are
it's,
you
it's,
taking
it's
care of-
extra money, but
Take
it's
care of
work.
your past
Yeah.
clients.
You
You
take
can
Supplement
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 things, yeah.
Right,
gotcha.
the ultimate
Right.
is your
Take
sphere.
Even the
You need
78.
Well, you take
referral
those
business
people and
from your
hopefully
past
they
clients.
turn into
Yep.
an SOI kind of person that later down the road, then you don't do it, but you know, to initially get them in.
Yeah.
You gotta pay the
So we
price.
just had the guy
Yeah.
from Housing Wire, the guy that publishes
Yeah,
Housing
yeah.
Wire.
Uh-huh.
He was on our deal, and Rocket Mortgage now owns
Mr. Cooper.
Mr. Cooper, and they bought Mr. Cooper, so
Just
they're
kidding.
servicing boatloads of.
Yeah.
So we are all going to become irrelevant in a big section of the market. I mean, Mr. Cooper's what do
But
they
here's
service?
And they have their own-
There's gonna be two experiences for
Funnel.
that. And here's the deal too, like, so, if you're a broker, like in the loan side,
Yeah,
and realtors that use brokers, I'm just gonna tell you the reality, they sell those loans.
yes.
They sell, and the odds that Mr. Cooper might buy that loan, they're one of the largest
Yeah,
servicers in the
it's
country.
huge.
Okay, so if they get that loan, and now they own Redfin, do you think for 1 second they're gonna send that buyer or seller back to you if they wanna buy or sell? They're gonna keep it in-house with Redfin.
Yep.
They're gonna market the shit out of them saying, hey, you're only gonna have to pay this, because they're all reduced commissions, and
Yeah.
Rocket Mortgage is keeping all that money,
Yep.
right?
And then
Yeah,
you
yeah.
use our
So they're
escrow and
cutting you
title
out
and
of the
all that
picture.
too.
Especially on the broker side, right, because they don't
Yep.
service their loans.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. Did you
No,
talk about that?
You hit it, yeah.
I just telling you what's gonna happen.
This is,
Yeah, yeah.
Stop trying to say, go to this guy, he's got the lowest rate on planet Earth. Well, he's a broker. And guess what? You'll get one transaction and that's it.
They'll hold them.
They're gonna get everything after
That's
that.
their goal. They said 2
Yeah.
years ago, Redfin said that our goal, well, a lot of the big ones that a lot of, like newer agents will pay Zillow or Redfin or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
they said their goal is to get personless transactions. Now they're going out and they're purchasing all the services. They're going after title companies, they're going after everything to be able to facilitate those, apply from your phone, whole transaction done.
Yeah.
All
They're already
online.
doing deals with
this is what the housing wire
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
The question came up over AI and what can
Yeah.
AI
What it can't
provide?
do.
Yeah,
That's what's
exactly.
more important.
So
Yeah.
AI could do that deal from the mortgage side to the title side to the purchase contract side, at least in Colorado, very easily. You plug in your name, your sale price, and you do a basic application. That could all be done for
Smart
What would
contract.
you say? 70% of the buyers out there.
It's smart
Probably
contracts.
70% of buyers could all
Buyers
do that.
today.
Buyers today.
It's all qualified buyer, like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
all-
Moving-
yeah.
So that was my question: is
Is what all this
how
is
do I
going
stay relevant in an AI world where the captive people,
connection.
Yeah.
It's education, like you touched on. It's
Buyers
all
that need help.
Yeah, and you got to be more than just a lender.
Mhm.
Like, and on our side, if you are just doing the loan, you're gonna get eaten
Eaten
alive.
up.
You're gonna be
And it
done.
goes for the realtors too,
But the real
because
You can't just-
the, the servicers are going to retain that business and give it to the people that are already under their umbrella anyway.
Oh, sure.
And you guys
Your
get
client's
the-
going to come back to you when the servicer
Yeah.
reaches out and says, "Oh, you're actually going to be buying a new home. That's awesome. We already manage everything. Let's just do it."
And we'll
You're gonna
refi
give
you
them
for
to theirs.
free.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, they're gonna do it
That's
for
so much
nothing.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna make all the money, but Rocket's gonna keep it.
So trigger leads. You guys are
Relationships, so.
familiar with trigger leads, or
No.
you have your
Uh,
so you have your
You
credit.
don't have to deal with that.
We pull up a credit report from a borrower, and they get bombarded by everybody. The Equifax.
Yeah.
Trigger
Oh,
lead.
no, no, it happens with our,
Yeah, I
all
think-
of our lead stuff.
So this
too.
is
Yeah.
this
But
will
it's different.
this will
They
happen
can't
for
cross
you.
call a sign. They can't cross what they call it, sign
Sign
crossing.
Sign
crossing.
crossing.
It's not the same on the lending side.
Yeah, it's not.
But it will happen
Oh,
for
you
you
can.
guys now that these
Mhm.
servicing pieces that they own the real estate side also. So you get a credit report pulled, or I mean, I looked at some AI yesterday that was pretty insane. Like even HomeBot does it. Your probability of selling based on your
It's pretty
Yeah, the
tight.
scores, the number
your
scores.
other like you can even look at your other debts. You know, it looks at your credit report silently and says, "Oh yeah, these people are going to sell." There's a
Or they need to cash out
90%.
refi.
Algorithms. Yep.
And so they're going to market. They'll
That
market
is so
to you,
interesting.
so you won't see it, right? It won't be
That is
sign
so
crossing
awesome.
because even though you sold them the house, they're getting bombarded from Redfin. Hey, time to sell your house. We'll do it for 1%. We already have a buyer already for your house
Wow.
because someone over here needs
Yeah.
a place.
Yeah.
Save
So you're
yourself.
going to eliminate. Like we can do it all in one. Just apply here.
That's
Click
what's
click
coming
here.
over the
We
next
So
need
it
to
really is
adapt.
going to be.
We need to adapt fast.
Yeah.
I
dangerous.
actually welcome
Yeah.
all that. Like, as much as we go, oh man, the sky is falling, I'm going, you know what? Because I just complained about getting $7,800 and that really sucked. But at the same time, I'm thinking, wow, these people are just sending people to me. And yeah, I had to make some calls and, land them or whatnot. But
It's great
You
for
know-
a guy like you. It's not great for a guy like me that's had a real estate license for a year.
Yeah, someone
Yeah,
that's
the
For
newer
you,
people,
it's
yeah.
great. And on the lending side, it's great for us, right? We've got this history of what we've done. We can say, hey, here are all these speed bumps you're going to run into. Here's our portfolio of experience.
no, but I think that
But it's gonna suck
everybody
for a
can
new
tap
person,
into
yeah.
those same things.
Yeah.
Also like this realtor.com called me the other day.
Yeah.
And said, hey, we want to sell you our leads. And I know Damon's doing the Realtor.com stuff. And I'm like, I'm not really interested, And they're like, well, we have listing leads too through UpNest. Have you guys ever heard of UpNest?
I haven't. No.
And they're like, give us $175. We send proposals out to the people, and I guess they respect Realtor.com. The people do, and then they go, well, this guy will call you. And then I was like, $175?
For $175, really?
Yeah, a month.
Because the
But
buyer
you have to
leads-
give 30%.
I
Yeah,
was gonna
that's
say,
the,
it's-
that's
And I
the
went,
other
you know
issue.
what? Sign me up. Like, that's $175,
Yeah.
right? And so it's like,
Is it
even
a
though
zip
I'm
code or is it
complaining,
just whatever?
I've got like 5 of these people that are sending me stuff, and I have to pay them 30%. And I'm thinking, I still have my sphere that's going on and whatnot. But I think that's pretty awesome that we can get into the real estate gig. And if we want to pay some companies, we don't have to pay them $2,000 a month for one
Right.
company.
Right.
Now we can pay $500 a month for 3 companies sending you stuff at 30%.
It's more
And
appealing for
luckily,
you. Right?
I'm only charging $3.99 a transaction here, so that's a no-brainer, right? But those people in the Kellers and
I think the numbers are gonna change
they're
on
gonna
that.
die. The
It's
people are gonna
30%
freak
right now.
out. Exactly.
they're gonna raise it. Because it's like crack cocaine, baby. Like you did.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
right.
we can squeeze
Right.
that.
That's what's gonna
Part
happen.
of me, yeah. I just kind of welcome some of that.
Not that I
stuff.
know.
That's how you got your energy.
And for the record, you're smoking crack cocaine. You're not.
This is what Zillow. This is what Zillow.
That makes me a better person.
15 years ago. I mean, if
But
anybody-
Zillow's not on the bandwagon yet. They're still charging the 7,000, 10,000
Yeah,
a
but-
month or
For
whatever.
now.
Zillow.
What?
But they're changing their model as
Yeah,
well right now. I
juggernaut.
saw
Well, they
that.
have the Flex program, but they only give it to a couple people.
Yeah.
Well,
They
but
need
they're
to
all, they're
open-
all gonna do that
I'm
because
telling you.
they're only getting 30 or 35% of the people that close. So they have to choose who is gonna be the best, just kinda like the referral exchange we have. The more you close, the more they sent you.
Right.
You know,
So do you think
the people
that-
who are brand new who can't close anything, they're just gonna wash out.
Yeah.
And that's what they said. So there was one
Yeah.
program. I was like, Scott, we gotta really get on these people so that they'll give us more.
So do you think you guys will evolve back to more of a, well, you did once, I mean, you did this in the mountains, right? So this was one more communal, real estate was the smaller the town, the more communal it becomes.
Oh, for
right?
sure.
So do you think in a town the size of Colorado Springs, that we go back to the real estate listing book? Like, it doesn't hit a Zillow, it doesn't hit online, it doesn't,
Only
like,
for a certain population of people,
Yeah.
and they're dwindling.
and they're dwindling?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks.
So right now we have all the power because we have the MLS. And so we can just turn the switch off anytime. But as soon as Zillow and all of them start getting the listings away from the MLS, then.
But how are you
it's
gonna turn that off?
Well, so.
You guys
so
have
like-
already opened the door.
You have
Well, yeah,
to
you
have
turn
one
it
of
off.
these real
You say,
estate
"We're done."
associations.
Yeah, but
Turn it off.
Who, I mean,
It's so
who-
fun.
About
who's
safety.
PPR
We already
president?
gave it to 'em.
Huh?
Yeah.
Who's PPR president?
As soon as the MLS became public, that was.
But
First
so
step
the
in
way
our
that
demise as
they can
realtors.
take it is kind of like how Barb Schlinkler is, where she's like, Barb has the buyers. All Zillow has to say is Zillow has the buyers. Come list your house with us,
Yeah.
and we have the buyers here.
We have 7
You know,
million
so
buyers.
whoever has the buyers is gonna have the listings.
Yeah.
You know,
They've done it before.
So right now,
I mean, that's
all the
what I'm saying.
realtors have the buyers, all the approved buyers in the MLS and the portals and stuff like that. So we have all the listings, so we can say, hey, we have the most approved buyers. But as soon as Zillow and all of them say, hey, we have all the buyers and they're pre-approved already, and why would you go to an agent? You know, just
Yeah.
go to us.
No,
We already have the
And all
person.
that's gonna be able
Save
to,
yourself.
they're gonna be able to, you're gonna be able to go on to Zillow, fill out the form for the loan, and they're gonna say you're pre-approved
Yeah.
for 750,000,
already.
So
blah, 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 and then they're gonna go
I
to,
saw one not too long ago.
Do you
figure
guys-
out a way to see it,
Mhm.
and they're gonna fill out the contract online.
Mhm.
There's gonna be no agents at all.
But
That's
they
where
would
they
lose
need
a
a
lot of
human.
money that
That's
the
where they
agents
need a
are
human
paying
to
them.
So
negotiate.
dumb though.
But I think they're okay
They're
with
gonna
losing
make
the
their
money
money.
if they got the service,
they have
the
the
mortgage
whole
provider, the title
monopoly.
company. They're keeping more money at the end because off one
All
transaction.
the
The seller
insurance,
is already
they'll
paying
probably also
Zillow, the
require
buyer's
their
gonna
own
pay
insurance.
Do you
Zillow.
guys want to know the answer? I kind of stumbled across it, in the past week. And I'm really excited about it because I've made it my mission to compete with Zillow.
Oh, wow, have fun.
Well, and here's the thing: those platforms, they don't care about people. They never will. They can't.
There's no connection.
And so that's exactly what we do. We're here for the relationship aspect of it. We know that real estate's an emotional game. And I thought to myself, well, what do these guys have? What are they doing that's different? And Scott kind of like inspired me a few months ago when he created that intranet for us. And it put me on a path to realize I was kind of keep this stuff to myself, but I'm sitting here listening to you guys talk and I just can't anymore.
Well, we need your input.
Because
Spit it out, Dean.
what I realize is client dashboards.
Yeah.
So client dashboards are the way that we're going to be able to get and keep our clients and maintain a personal connection with them. That's exactly what they get when they log into Zillow or Realtor. They get a client dashboard. They get to log in with Google or whatever makes them feel comfortable, Facebook. They should be able to do that for us too, and access our own benefits and resources and information as being a part of our client. So what we're really needing to do is to show people what agency relationships is all about. And that's what I've that's what I've stumbled on. I'm going to share some stuff with you a little bit later, Jason, because I've got just so much to unload. It is just amazing. But I'm excited about these client dashboards because what we can actually do is we can code our dashboards to have certain API access points with credit with their bank accounts. So now if I have a preferred lender and I have a client in my dashboard, and I'm already plugged into their information through API and I've got that client's consent, we already know when they're going to be mortgage ready. We know what steps they're going to need to take. We already know what's coming next. And I'm actually in the process of building those dashboards to have a custom AI chatbot programmed by me that will help my clients in that dashboard. So this is something that I'm kind of going to be the beta agent for.
Sorry, can you put that in?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what is that, a website?
That's
or
a
something?
set it and forget it.
Yes. So it's like
You could probably
it's,
do it within the acquire.
it's
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
back end
Yeah.
for your
Right,
front end
right.
website.
Uh-huh.
So think of your front end website, you know, we've all got an agent profile, you've got a lender profile. We all have that. We even got a CRM to handle our client profiles, right? But our clients don't have a back end to see what we're doing or to track the process.
Hey,
So
have you ever
we're-
heard of Mosaic?
I've heard of that, yes.
I
but
think it's exactly what it's already made.
Flowify
See,
too.
well, that's the thing that I've learned. That's the beauty of all this. I've been scratching my head, sitting here fighting, like, oh, I'm gonna have to build a website. I'm gonna have to build this. I'm gonna do that. The stuff is already out there, guys. It's white
So can
labeled
they
and
go-
ready for us to put our brand on it.
Ooh, wow,
But-
wow, awesome.
But
Yes.
well, again, you said you're going to compete with Zillow using tech.
Mhm.
That's what they're doing. I think you're actually.
Tech and a
I think
personal
you can't
experience.
eliminate
You have
tech,
to add the
but that's not how
personal.
you compete with them. Like, how is that? I'm going to make sure I understand.
Yeah.
How is that going to increase your human interaction?
Well, I'm gonna be there every step of the way. I program the AI bots. I'm one phone call away. I am not a
I
big
think that's
conglomerate.
that's the
that is-
difference is that they want the phone call.
Yeah.
They don't want the AI.
Yeah.
They don't. I think that's a downside.
The
Like I
people
said.
They
want
don't
the
know
call.
it's AI.
Yeah. Maybe,
Well,
not.
Now, a lot of times you're getting
pretty
calls.
darn good.
Well, we have to
Yeah.
tell them now too, when we use AI for certain content. We've even seen that happen in marketing now where we're,
Oh, really?
you know, yeah, where we're using AI in property descriptions where we're gonna have to start disclosing, hey, the AI was used to generate this property description. So a lot of that stuff
I don't
is
use
it's
it.
happening already. And I've come across this, and you guys are like my family, so I don't mind sharing it with you guys. But I'm sitting here and I'm on a gold mine because I feel like, how are we not already doing this? You know, how did this slip through the cracks? You know, but I'm excited. I've already been building it out. I'm gonna beta it out with myself and my service, and you know, if any of you guys are ever interested into it, I can actually extend that to you too. I now am a paid person of a platform. I won't disclose. I'll let you guys work for that, and get to talk to me a little bit more about the dashboards or the platform that I'm using for the dashboards. But I mean, this is cool stuff. We're talking about not just getting a client for one transaction. We're talking about truly becoming their realtor for life, and
So I think that there's a
keeping
lot
them
of,
on the hook.
like, we're talking about how Zillow's gonna take over and everybody's
Right.
taking over and all these things, everything's changing, we adapt. But nothing is gonna take over when you have relationships with people
Human.
and they're just like, hey, Rob, I need to sell my house, can you come over to my, like, they wanna talk to you. They want a person, they don't
Yeah.
wanna just
Those
go
are
to
the best
Zillow
leads.
and type it in. Maybe some people like that or whatever. But then there's also niching. Zillow can't, see, man, Zillow can't niche everything. So like if you are an investment person and you're niching with old people, downsizing, you're niching with first-time home buyers or whatever, and you get that niche out, people are typing in, I just need to downsize, and you have like that platform you're talking, or the back end or what, portal, or whatever you call it. If you're out there and you have a niche, people want to go to the people that are the
Experts.
Hyper local.
They know.
Hyper local market.
These people know how to downsize me or whatever. I don't need to go to Zillow. That's just a general platform.
Zillow don't care.
So that's right. That's right.
So
So
that's what I'm trying to tell
Yeah.
it's just like, you know.
that's exactly right.
That's
One,
the value
like,
of our
niche
you
to
can
get
love
rich
something in
over
a
Keller Williams.
community,
Totally.
don't just walk
Totally.
away from the community, you know what I mean? You need
Right.
to,
So
you
is
need
it-
to do some type of marketing in that community once you've closed.
Right.
Don't just to pick up and you closed and go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a few like deep philosophical dilemmas that I worry about, right? There's a lot of experience in this room. Everybody has their niche, they have their clientele, they have these things, right? You're right, absolutely right. These big companies, all these corporations, right? We saw this in like 2010, right? When small business was getting smaller and big business was getting bigger after the slight crash. But there's still clientele that prefer to promote small businesses and they want to go to their local
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
And you have the other people that they go corporate for the cost, right? It's cheaper. But the issue now is that now we have a not just separation between like those kind of economical classes of how people are providing services, but we have that also with generational differences as well. Zillow doesn't care. Neither do most people in my generation.
Right.
Right? They avoid conversation.
Yeah.
Right? What is it like 70% of conversations
Wow, that's
that kids at the age
Yeah.
of 15 don't have any social interactions?
Right.
Yeah.
My friend has a 16-year-old sister and he was home visiting. He's like, "Hey, like what are you doing? You need a ride somewhere or anything?" She's like, "No. I was going to the movies every weekend with my friends when I was younger."
Yeah, right.
Now they're like, "No, I just watch a movie on Skype or whatever with my friends that they've never met to in person or anything."
Yeah.
That's my biggest issue is that the more that we drift from like social anxiety is just riddling through everybody,
Yeah.
they're gonna pick up their phone first anyway. They don't want to talk to somebody, and the other thing is that they have so much access to information is that they think they're right. I'm sure a lot of us have
Yeah.
estate attorney friends. What's the biggest thing they're fighting against? Well, I found this thing on Google that says I can do a will for free.
You try
You know,
Right,
they're like,
yeah.
whoa,
Yeah.
slow down, right?
Right.
That's
Will for
my biggest
free.
concern is how the separation between corporate, right?
Yeah.
Like there needs to be some kind of higher end reforms where, hey, why are we allowing corporations to buy residential real estate?
Right.
That's not okay, right? But people have a hard time closing in a trust sometimes because the asset's too big. But Zillow can come in and buy a whole block and market and keep things on track. What about affiliated business arrangements? Oh, we'll just buy all the companies so it's not affiliated anymore. We are just the same company.
That's what our
Yeah,
company
right.
does
Wow.
too. Fidelity does the same
Yeah.
thing in
Yeah.
the title space.
Yeah.
They go, some company will be useful to the market. They'll go and buy it. They'll price it up, and then it never gets used.
Yeah, we're seeing a divide right now. We just came back from our boot and shoot in Dallas, which is a big seminar and stuff like that. And Freddie Mac was there, right? We used to originate most of our loans with DU, right? Fannie Mae, usually their pricing was a little bit better or whatever. And their guidelines were a little easier to work with.
I know.
Freddie Mac comes in at the meeting and says, "Hey, we're partnering with you guys." Why? Because Fannie Mae, our biggest competitor, is in bed with all the corporations. We want to be in bed with the privately owned companies. And it's immediately, right? Like I had to lock a
Nice
few loans the other
sounding
day. Their pricing was way better.
Yeah.
And they're trying to work with these small companies. Like we're not going to go out and buy title companies. We're going to partner with them. We're not going to buy servicers. We're going to partner with them because if not, we're all done.
It feels better.
Yeah. It
So-
does feel much.
So we want to use a lender that does Freddie Mac?
No, most lenders they can, it's just depends on who you underwrite with, right? Depends on who you underwrite
The support
with. And the
stuff.
client's going to dictate what that is. If you have someone with
Yeah.
student debt, you don't want to go Fannie Mae because you got to use 1% of their balance as a monthly payment, right? If they're having a
Yeah.
deferment. So it all depends, but I'm just glad that some of these big, even the government-backed people are splitting a little bit too. They're
Yeah.
trying to compete because they're like, oh, they're going to the corporation side. We're going to stay with the people side. So like, do you want to be a populist and do what the people want to do, or do you want to be somebody that's going to be innovative and do what the people don't want to do, which is talk to
We
somebody?
have to do
It's
both.
scary.
We have to
It's so
constantly
hard.
adapt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
You're right.
It all comes
Education.
down.
Yep.
It
Education.
all comes down to
Yeah.
one thing: the
Conversation.
client experience.
That's right.
Yeah.
Who gives the best client experience?
And
you
Is
have
it
to
the
service.
corporation?
refer
Is
you.
Nailed
it
it.
you? Is it whoever gives the best client experience is going to get all the business.
Yeah.
And
But
you
like
can
you said,
use
the-
tech to do that.
The
or you
definition
can-
of a client
you know,
experience
is-
is different generation.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody knows
It's
how
always
it's
going to
so
change.
hard.
But it's always the same thing. It's always the client experience.
Yeah.
The client experience, that's
Yeah.
that's the main problem of why they're gonna use you. And it could be generational, it could be
Just
because somebody
referral.
uses tech, somebody doesn't use tech. That's what you gotta figure out. But that's your number one goal of what you're going after is giving them the best client experience.
Mhm.
Whatever they want as an experience, that's what you're going
Yeah, you
after.
You're right.
Referral.
And like
Trust.
that's already there too. Like, like when I meet with like some younger realtors like around my age group, it's like, how do you like the business? Oh, I love providing value to my clients. Define value. Oh,
Right.
I have communication skills. I tell them the truth. I do this. That's just what's expected of you.
Yeah,
that's not
right.
value.
That's-
that is right.
You're not giving
That's the
somebody
basic.
more than what they expect to pay for.
I
right?
can't.
Right.
So people in my generation just have a different idea of value. They think some people think the bare minimum is value. You're really good at adapting and looking at things and stuff like that. But then when I sit with like older realtors, they're like, oh, I do this, like just things that you would never think of, right?
Yeah.
Things that
Totally
younger people are like,
unnecessary.
that's too much work.
Oh, yeah.
That's why they have all this
That's-
business. It's like, man, every
Right.
deal you're marketing, every single deal. If you
Right.
come down a little bit, they're more likely to send you your friends. Don't
Yeah.
don't go below your worth, but don't think you're worth too much because most people don't have that value.
Right.
Oh, I communicate good. Cool. So
Yeah.
does everybody else in your job. They all have the
That's
same
right.
answers.
Right.
It's hard. In the lending side, it's the same thing. What's your value? Oh, I'm fast. I have these loan products. I have this. What do you like, dude? We all use the same thing to lock in.
Yeah,
It's the same
right.
thing. It's the same thing.
We close your loan on time. Well, that's what you're
Yeah,
supposed to
good,
do.
exactly. Finally.
Or are you gonna get me qualified where this guy can't?
Yeah, or they're gonna lie and say, "Oh, I can qualify you," and then they get to underwriting it. It's
We
like,
see
no,
that a
you
lot
can't,
right
dude.
now.
What do you use
Yeah.
everything wrong? It's
We run
ridiculous.
across
We're seeing a
that.
lot of that too.
When
I see
we
a lot of
are
that.
listing a house, they go, "Oh, I got Pella windows, and I
Mhm.
got this, and I upgraded these windows," and I'm thinking, every buyer expects you to have windows.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Whoa.
matter what. You just need to have windows.
Actually-
So you're not going to pay extra
Mine are
because
okay.
you have the
Yes,
Mercedes window. I mean, they're all just vinyl windows.
Yeah.
And and that's exactly
Well,
what
it's
you're
like,
saying.
it's like countertops now. Like granite countertops are kind of standard.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
so
no,
granite
yeah.
countertops, like,
It's been a
great,
thing for
that's-
years.
yeah,
Third
oh,
grade.
it's only
Expected.
upgrade.
Yeah, the different grades of granite too. I got a number 5 granite. I got a number 3 granite. It doesn't matter. I'm telling you, I'm sorry. You're not going to get.
Yeah, someone's still gonna say, "Well, I don't like the color of that one."
Right.
You know, I don't like the color.
Yeah.
Of that. I don't care what level it is or how strong. I just don't like
Right.
that color. Yeah.
My wife kept telling me on the listing, on Turquoise, you need to paint the kitchen because it was yellow.
It was, yeah.
And I'm like, look, because so my wife is a great hairdresser and she is a fantastic realtor. Unlike her husband.
You want me to hit pause on this, or so see this later?
So she's like, you need to paint it. I go, look, we've had like 25 showings and not one person said they didn't like the color of the paint. So I'm not gonna paint it something and then somebody's gonna, if they don't like the color, no one's gonna not buy a house because they don't like how that room is painted. Because they can paint that themselves. And it's just, that's the mentality is like, well, what's wrong with the house? Well, it's a stupid floor plan. I can paint it to somebody's needs and they're still not gonna buy it. If they wanna buy the house, they're gonna buy it. So, yeah, I forgot my point.
Your wife is a
Fun story,
fantastic
though.
realtor with a yellow
Yeah.
kitchen.
Yeah.
But you didn't end up painting that kitchen and it sold.
No.
I feel you, brother.
I mean, the place was a little dark inside, but
Yeah.
people could paint it.
And you get that feedback
Maybe
anyway
AI
after open
won't give you
houses.
that advice.
Did you like the house? No.
Oh,
okay.
yeah,
We'll see if we get
Okay.
anything
We
different
know.
from
Let's
Stetson Ranch. Now that we've got new carpets and new paint, people still might not like the floor plan, you know?
Right, that's true.
I mean, I've had issues when people say we don't like the color of the carpet. If I have several of those on feedback, okay, that's a legitimate thing that we need to address. But because the realtor's wife doesn't like the color of the kitchen, you don't have to change it. But AI can't think like that. You know,
Right,
they don't
yeah.
know.
I mean, this is the
Not yet, but
concept.
it's getting close
But
if you
AI
listen to some
knows
of
what
this stuff.
colors people like.
That's right.
Right.
And they'll give you
Yeah.
recommendations.
Yeah.
This is the constant plight of a salesperson. I mean, we're always justifying our value. I mean, whether you're getting 3% commissions, 10% commissions.
Right.
Like when I first started in the mortgage side, they were literally getting 10 points per deal. That was.
That's why everyone wanted to be a lender.
If we see
Yeah.
2 points per deal now, like I run my whole branch off of 2 points, and pay loan officers get paid maybe 1 point of that. And so, the evolution of what we're competing against and justifying our value it's eternally going to change. But we
Yeah.
have to do that
We have
every
to stand out.
single day. Like,
Yeah.
Does
Well,
anyone in here
why
have
am
a
I
real
different?
estate resume that
Yes.
you hand your people when you
Mine's
meet
terrible.
them? Something like that, because they meet you
Referral,
and they're
referral,
making an
referral.
instant judgment of your character and your experience.
So,
you
I
need to
have-
hand them a piece of paper that says, "I have done this and this and this and this
Yep.
and this."
Yeah.
Oh, I have the
It's your
perfect
Google
analogy
review now,
for
right?
this, because I use it all the time when realtors talk to me. So let's imagine you're going to I love what you said about people saying, and I want your feedback on this, because you said millennials and stuff, but, they're going, oh, I'm honest, or I'm this, or whatever, and you got to go above and beyond. So I came up with the analogy when I was going out to listing appointments and I wouldn't get the listing, and I was going, oh, these leads suck. And then I would see it on the MLS by someone else, and I thought, maybe I suck. What am I doing wrong, right? And so what I did is I put together like a realtor resume, in my magazine, I bought a bunch of gifts. We get the books from you guys. You know, I was talking about that book that you write the book
Yeah.
last week and stuff, different things like that. So I put together this whole package where if there's 5 realtors that they're interviewing, I've got to figure out how to not just say I'm honest or whatever. I've got to look like Tom Cruise. You know,
Yes.
if you're auditioning for a movie, you got your C-listers out of school, you got your B-movie people, then you got your Jennifer Aniston and Tom Cruise, your A-listers, right? I've got to look like an A-lister without telling them I'm an A-lister. Because if I just go in and go, oh, I'm a good realtor, you know, I'm honest, blah, blah, I have to go in and I dump 6 inches of materials and gifts out there, like that. And then you see the little Remax folder and the Keller Williams folder sitting over there with the inkjet pages inside there. When I leave, they know that I'm Tom Cruise and they want me in their movie.
right.
You know, and that's kind of what you have to do. You don't have to just be a salesperson. You just have to look like it. But it cost me about $40 to $50 per appointment. That's another expense.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But,
They know
but
you're
who
investing.
cares?
You want
right.
it the most, and that's what you're showing them.
Right.
I want your business.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm not going through, going, look at all these materials.
Yeah.
I just go, this is for you. So yesterday I met a 92-year-old lady, and I had all my little magazines and stuff, and she's selling 2 houses, and she's talking to me, and we talked for about an hour, and I go, well, this is for you, and I slide over all this stuff. She goes, this is all for me? And she was like blown away. And I was like, yes, I'm Tom
You have to
Cruise.
sell your
you know.
presentation.
Well,
now.
Exactly.
I think if you have to tell somebody your value, you've already lost.
Exactly.
You know, you gotta show them
Yeah,
your
That's
value.
true.
No
Yes.
one, Tom
Very
Cruise
true.
isn't sitting at an audition saying, please pick me. They're calling in because
Let me tell you what movie.
they're starting at the top, not the bottom.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, even if you've been in a year or whatever, make yourself look like
You have
Tom
to sell your
Cruise or Jennifer
processes
Aniston.
and stuff.
That's right.
It's about the experience. Give them the best experience.
Yeah.
And-
Give them the best movie.
Yeah.
And we also
to
have that
see.
one flyer of like the 100 and something things that you guys do
Oh, I
to
saw-
represent.
Yeah, they don't know
You
what
know,
we
then
do.
you guys, yeah, that's a
They just
great
think
little
we're making
flyer
too
of
much
all
money.
those
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
that you could just go,
Yeah.
look, this is
That's
what I'm
what
gonna
you
do
do.
for you.
True.
I
Yeah.
don't, I don't
All you
even
do
go
is
through any of the
collect
stuff I
checks.
give them. I
That's
just
what
give
they
it to them
think.
and say, hey, this is some information you guys
That's
can
what I
go through
do.
and
Yeah.
look at
You
it.
can be the best
Let's talk
realtor.
about what your goals are and how we can help you achieve those.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could be the best realtor in the world, and if they don't like your personality, it doesn't matter how many deals you've done
Right,
this, you'll see.
absolutely.
I just had a phone
Yeah.
call from a client yesterday. She's like, hey, do I still have to, I'm not going to say the other agent's name, but do I have to work with you and him? You know?
And
And he oversold, right? Overpromised,
Right,
underdelivered. The moment she didn't talk to him for 2 weeks, he showed up at her house. Hey, am I gonna get your listing or what? Because he was just freaking the heck out. And he's somebody, he gets a lot of business. He's you know, whatever. So she was like, oh, he seems so professional. Everybody says so good things. Immediately, she's like, yeah, I don't like that.
They get turned
I
on.
don't like that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that he's driven, but don't show up at my house when I'm not responding to your phone calls. That's weird.
Yeah, right.
So it's
yeah.
gonna happen, right? You might say something like, "Oh, you know, I think the sky's green," but you have all these deals. They're gonna be like, "This guy kind of seems like he's out of whack a little bit. I just don't like him. I want to use someone else. I don't care what everybody else says about it.
Yeah.
Happens all the time.
Right.
Commission
So
rep.
you're right. You just gotta be the person that you want your clients to be, for you to be.
Right.
I've always called that commission breath when I was.
Commission breath. I've heard that. Yeah.
Commission breath.
Yeah.
We did training new loan officers. When
I think you
you're
told me
that
that before,
anxious,
yeah.
you can just they can feel it. You know? They're like, oh please, I need it. I need it. And, so yeah, don't into it.
You close with me, I'll give you a free massage.
Want me to rub your feet while you sign the paper?
Now I know I have multiple personalities.
I love commission breath. That's great.
That is
Oh,
really
that's
good. Commission
great.
breath. That is yeah. Worst thing you can do.
That's funny. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of weird changes, but not a lot of people are doing what you guys are doing here
This
and
is
sitting down and
valuable.
talking
Yeah.
about
So
it. That's the
valuable.
thing. Everybody wants to
Right.
sit there, what do I do?
Right.
What do I do? You guys are here brainstorming and doing things, sharing
Right.
ideas,
Yeah.
because there's not just one answer. It's not going to be one size fits all,
Right.
right?
Yeah, when I
feel
leave
it's
here,
gonna
I
have
feel like I'm a little bit of ahead of the game.
Knowledge
By
is power, man.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just glad to hear you
Knowledge
guys
is
talking
power.
about it.
It's a boost.
Well, you know, but I think a lot of people don't understand and don't care
Mhm.
about the value. So, you know, I told you about the neighbor across the street who didn't want to choose between Dave, Bob, and Tom, the 3 realtors within a 2-block radius. So he picked somebody from West Cliff.
An expert in the community.
And the reason he picked somebody from West Cliff was the realtor he knows in Hobbs, New Mexico, didn't return his call, right? So he's had a coming soon sign for like a month. The
There you go. I guess I can do that.
The guy's not a member of Pikes Peak MLS.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
And so he's there. He's already moved to Pueblo West, and he's there. The other day, I was taking the trash out, and he was pulling. And I go, "Hey Joe, how's it going?" He goes, "Good." I go, I do have a buyer. I'm serious that I want to show this property to, but she doesn't want to see it until it's on the market." So he goes, "Okay." And I said, "He says, yeah, I'm putting linoleum in the laundry room today with my buddy, and blah blah blah." And I said, "So." Have you done your septic inspection yet for the property?"
Oh, great.
He goes, no, what? Well, it's required.
Yeah,
It's a county
required.
ordinance
Yeah.
that you have, there's a list of vendors. Just go to the El Paso County Environmental Health, OWTS, on-site water treatment system, look for property sale, and all that information will be there. And I'm thinking, okay, am I crossing the sign here? Because I'm telling him that his agent doesn't know shit about
Yeah, you're right.
excuse me,
No.
doesn't know poo-poo about this market
Right, yeah.
and what's required. And I said, it's good for a year. I'm explaining it to him, and so he was kind of like,
Pointing out inadequacies isn't sign crossing.
I think it's fine.
I think it's fine. I think so too. You're just a neighbor.
Yeah.
A neighbor.
I said, but the good news is that guy is in the Canyon City MLS, and that's only like 40
So you
minutes.
might be able to do that.
You can call the agent directly and just say, hey, do you need some help?
I've talked to him.
Yeah.
And I just said, because I wanted to see what it's going to be priced at. Because I saw somebody looking at it. And I said, are you on the market yet? And he's like, no, but I had some people want to see it. So they're looking at it. I go, just full disclosure, I live across the street. Some people look at it. I just didn't know if it was on. I didn't see it on MLS. And he didn't mention anything about not being a member, but he's a member of RE Colorado. He probably thinks RE Colorado is Colorado Springs too.
Yeah, he probably does.
So it's
Because
like,
there's so many of us to put it on already.
you know what? I lost a deal. A friend of mine, a friend of ours, my wife and I, and we go to dinner with them all the time. They listed with Brian Macker instead of me.
How does he get all these lists?
But you know what? Okay. Okay. Brian Macker's a stud. Okay. Love him, hate him. The guy's got a resume. It's like, yeah.
You hate to lose business
They-
to people that are
Wait a minute.
turds.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And Phys Ed, they picked Michael Jordan before me.
Dave, it's
I
okay.
can live with that. But they picked Mini-Me before me. Come on. So, I mean, I've you know what? I'm going to be fine because women's hair goes gray in the roots. So, it's not like I'm going,
Do
okay,
tell.
I need free cheese, we're okay. But it's so frustrating when it's like, I'll
the
help
mortgage
you.
business.
I mean, I shoveled or plowed snow out of the driveway on Turquoise.
Yeah,
when it
yeah.
snowed and we had showings. I'm mowing the yard for pictures because they had moved away.
Yeah,
And these people
wow.
got to be seeing that. And it's like, this guy's going to have to he's not going to be able to show it. He's coming up to take pictures. Dude, you don't want to spend $200 or $300 to have a professional take pictures?
At least when you get them, you have them. We could go through
Right.
a 45-day closing, and a week and a half beforehand,
Yeah.
they go, I found somebody online, I'm gonna change, and then their rate's a quarter point lower. I'm out.
And you've
Yeah.
spent money
Wow.
to run
Wow.
their credit and all that.
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, by the
Yeah,
way,
like
can you
$500
transfer
on
that
people
appraisal?
Yeah.
No.
Listen, last week,
Yeah, I'll get that done
Yeah.
listen,
right
They
away.
were
as far as
$100 cheaper, so I'm leaving.
yeah, right.
Oh.
Two,
Oh, yeah.
2 weeks
Awesome.
ago, I lost 2 clients to Zillow. right? And let me
Wow.
let me tell you about this. They called me last week. You know, we were already under contract. Both of them were supposed to close one next week, one the next following week. Everything was good, but one of them, the husband deployed, right? So he couldn't upload any more documents or any of this stuff. But he had his, you know, Zillow stuff. He had a Zillow account and all these things.
Yeah.
But the wife was handling stuff with our portal, and the husband just didn't get it. They called me last week, well, the wife did, saying, hey, can we switch back to you? Because what they disclosed in the beginning, you know, worst thing you can do as a lender is quote rates up front without explaining that the market's changing all the time. You're not locking a rate until you go under contract. That dump that dump on Monday where everything went down, now they're trying to go and lock their rates because they were floating and all this stuff. And they're like, one person, the conventional one, not the VA one, conventional one, they were able to, when they first went under contract, and they said, no, we don't want to lock. Thank God they did it because I didn't have to go pay for the lock, right? But at what was it? It was FHA. 5.875 they were able to get that day, right? Cost them 1 point. Beautiful. Their new quote with the other lender, since they went to go lock now, automated systems, right? You gotta wait, 7.625.
That's what I've seen.
On Monday, because I know you saw
Yeah,
my
I
text,
know,
it was
yeah.
120 bips.
Yeah.
And they're like, can we switch? And I'm like, too late.
Sherman
Too
called
late.
me about
What's
that.
too late because you didn't lock
I didn't have
it, right?
time. I didn't have time to be able to go through the process again because we already paused them. I was like, is there any chance you'd be coming
Oh,
back?
because they're at the close.
Mm-hmm. And then I was like, well, I mean, we might as well just, usually I keep files open because this happens all,
I
it
keep
happens all the
them
time.
I keep them open for a week.
But because it was an issue with communication with the husband, right? Different time zones, these things, which usually we're fine with, but he was in an area where he had no access to anything. So I was like, oh, he's not going to be able, he's not going to be
You
able to
couldn't
close it.
say you would have to amend the contract.
I had this
in a
with
couple
Scott, with
weeks,
one
or-
of Scotty's clients that
Yeah,
she
about
locked.
the closing.
When we locked beforehand, it was 6.625 with no points. They canceled the contract because of inspection and did whatever. And 2 weeks later, with the new contract, it was 7.125.
Yeah, because you got to break
I
that
bet
lock.
they were. Oh,
I gotta call him at 2:30 and talk him off a cliff.
Yeah,
That stuff
I
happens
hear
a lot.
that.
And it's not
And bring
honest. I
that
mean, I don't
from
have
under
anything to
Tom.
do with it.
The ones that are
you're
honest.
such an idiot.
I'm the shitty lender.
No,
she said,
yeah.
she said I thought we were locked. And I said, you were locked for that house.
Yeah, that's the worst. That the lenders that are honest are the ones that get beat up.
Yeah.
Because we're like, hey, I'm not gonna. Well, this lender said he could do this. You haven't even applied yet.
Yeah.
How do they
Yeah.
know?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be
Fees.
your choice anyway. The
Right,
market could
right.
change next week. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but we're the ones that get screwed because we're not willing to lie and be like, oh, I could do that.
It's
How do I know? I don't know anything about your financial fingerprint. I don't
Yeah.
know you. It's gonna be built to
I always
you.
get that.
Same way with
What-
realtors though.
Yeah, exactly.
What are
Exactly.
your
Exactly.
rates?
Honest.
2%?
Yeah, they call looking for lower commission, right? Immediately. Well, I have a friend that's willing to do it like this. You know, I'm gonna do it for. My friend's gonna do it for 1%. Cool. I mean,
Cool, good luck.
my wife has like a menu, right? Because when she came into the industry way before me, she had a menu that her and I were talking about because she was like, I just don't feel like she's good. I just don't feel like I should be going well below and provide the same quality of service. And I was like, okay, cool. Make a menu.
Yeah, that's
Here's
right.
my 1% package. Don't call me
Yeah.
on
What
weekends.
do you
Don't
want?
do this. You know, I'm not going to do
Yeah.
that or whatever. And that freaking, they were like, oh. She's like, do you expect more from an agent that's going to be willing to give you 1%? Why
Yeah.
would they go above and beyond?
Yep.
You know?
That's
Respect
good,
the
yeah.
agent too.
I used
Dude,
to
it's
have a
sick.
menu.
Your little
Yeah, that's
menu.
cool.
It's cool. For my full commission, you get this,
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
You want to talk about defining value.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's
I
a
used to
great
have a
way to
menu
present it.
Yeah.
years ago, but then I started realizing, well, I guess for me personally, is I have to decide whether or not I'm going to take this and how much I'm going to discount, if I will.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some houses, you know, especially when you're in the million range, you're going to cut your
yeah.
commission.
You're
You're
gonna do
still
it
going to give
anyway.
them full service. You're still
Mhm.
going to,
Right.
you know,
Of
it's just
course,
like,
yeah.
I just need volume out there.
Yeah.
And
Well, my wife's clientele is not your clientele.
What's
She's
that?
not- my wife's clientele is not the same as your clientele. So don't worry about
Yeah,
it.
okay.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know, you got people that are calling like, I have a 480 credit score. I want this monthly payment. I want a house that works this much. Like, how do you want me to do it, right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
You
Yeah,
know, I'm not
yeah.
gonna-
480.
Yeah. Cool, 2-year plan. Let's do it. Like, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
call them
About
every week like
400.
somebody that's shopping right now.
Right, yeah.
So.
You know, we can get you something in, you know, Guadalajara.
I don't even know. Theirs getting pretty pricey these days
Yeah.
too. I think.
Purple in Guadalajara.
Yeah.
Hotels raising the taxes.
Yeah, I get frustrated when I go in and I tell them, this is what I feel the property is, this ballpark, you know, $10,000-$20,000 range, based on sales comps, okay? The same comps that an appraiser would use, not the comps that you want to be true, right? And it's like, you know, I think 525. I want 600. It's okay, we can list it whatever you want. We'll let the showings be our guide, right? Not getting any showings, gotta come down. If feedback is too high, gotta come down. And so they list with somebody else at 600, and then they sell for 522.
Yes. Yep.
You know, 6 months later.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And I'm like, well, I was right. He got paid.
Yep.
You know, and it's frustrating.
Yeah.
You know, then you tell them what they want to hear, 825, turquoise. It's on the market for 6 months. And the guy down the street gets somebody from Westcliff.
Yeah, and it's,
That is amazing.
it's important too to have that price right from the beginning. Because
I don't
seeing-
know about that. I'm not 100% sure.
I'm
about
seeing
that.
like even just like a $5,000 drop, then it goes under contract right away. You know, like it's
Well,
weird.
what I tell them is, you know, we can list higher if you want, but it's gonna sit longer.
Uh-huh.
So you gotta
Right.
you gotta decide, is it the money that you want the most, or is it the time that you want the most? You can decide. We can list high and wait longer, or we can list right and sell.
They
and
want
co-
both.
You know, you
Yeah.
you can't do both.
They do.
Let them fall forward.
I had a client tell me that we were priced too low because we sold it in 3 days.
Mhm.
And I said, oh crap, I didn't know you wanted to be on the market for 6 months.
Yeah.
Cereal.
Yeah.
Silly me. Oh, I didn't know you had all the time in the world.
Yeah, I was working with an agent and we did.
I love that. I love what Scott said. I love what you
Yeah,
said.
I mean, it's like, okay,
soul.
Yeah.
She's old soul.
you know.
But I kind of, I look at, when I'm looking at properties, you see this one sold for, let's say, 500, and this one sold for 560, and there's a huge range of 60 grand. And I got somewhere you're in between, you're not the highest, you're not the lowest. Where do I put you? Sometimes I reach a little bit, because I always tell them, you can come down,
Yeah,
you know, so pricing it right is okay, but at the same time, I really want to get them top dollar too, because I don't know where the price is in there.
Right.
I'd rather start a little high, and I was
Then
telling
come
them, you
down a
can
little
come
bit.
down, we
and
can't go
there's
up.
and there's certain properties where it's like, hey, if it's a, you know, a 3,000 square foot rancher in Springs Ranch,
Yeah,
it's a no-brainer. 'cause
yeah,
you
so,
can't- yeah, there's plenty.
so
of
that
guys.
happened to me
But
like
if
this
it's a
week.
unique property, and
I was, the people wanted it to be a certain price, and I said, you know, I think you're leaving a little bit on the table, so I upped it a little bit, you know, 15 grand. And we were getting all the feedback on too high, too high, too high. And so I was gonna have a conversation with them, and then and say, now we need to lower it. And all of a sudden, somebody comes in with an offer, like 20 grand low, we took it. Those people feel like they're getting a deal.
right?
Those buyers, because we were just gonna lower it 10 grand,
Yeah.
you know, so yeah, I mean, it works out sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's beneficial to go in there with a plan too.
Yeah.
If you're gonna start high, you say, okay, we're gonna start high, knowing we're starting high.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna make a plan that let's say you need to sell it in 3 months, so every 15 to 30 days, we'll lower it 10. Okay, that's the plan, everybody's on
Yeah,
board with that? Okay,
And-
cool.
And
you
let
know.
them understand that, you know, when it doesn't show, there's no showings,
Mhm.
it's not because of my property remarks. That I didn't
You
mention.
didn't put my pillow windows
the
in
main
there.
laundry. You know, it's like, man, you didn't mention the laundry's on the main level. Like, oh shit, that must be why it's not showing.
If I knew I got to keep those shower curtains.
Yeah. I had a client tell me we had been on the market. It was a $970,000 listing. No, 925. I'm sorry. And we had been on the market for like 12 hours on a 4th of July weekend, and he's calling me, dude, what's going on, man? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm headed up to the mountains. What are you doing? He says, we haven't had any showings. Like, yeah, we've just been on the market for like not even half a day yet. and he said, I read your property remarks. Frankly, I don't want to criticize you, but it put me to sleep. So we get like
It's an exciting house.
2,800 characters or something, and he sends me, here's what I want it to say, and it was 6,500 characters.
Yeah,
I
right.
says, well, I'm gonna have to, you know, so I edited that down. He goes, I know, I go, I can't put a comma in. Okay, I had to get rid of all the punctuation, you know, I can't put it, and it's like, we've been on the market for like a day. And I'm like, look, it's a price point, you know, we price it right and we present it with good pictures,
Yeah, yeah.
not from our smartphones, but good pictures, and it will show.